Hello, good morning, and welcome back to Nebula Quest. I am Noden, your host, as always. So, we are on our way to the Horsehead Nebula, as we always are. Well, at least we currently are. And we're just mapping out our next little jaunt, and we're roughly heading like that, I think. We shall see. So we are here in the Anning Hathaway Gateway, and in that crazy system, Nox, and this is a crazy system. If you're in the neighborhood and feel like seeing some crazy things in a stellar sort of orientation, I highly suggest popping here over to Nox. It's got an amazing system. So we've got let's look at this. Let's look at the system. We can do these things. We have the technology. So you've got these two massive stars here. We got that are orbiting extraordinarily close to each other. They're very, very large. So this is what, a class G, what are they calling it? White yellow, and this is a class M main sequence. Over here you've got a brown dwarf with its own planetary system. And in fact, there is another... go away. Oh, dang it. That's not what I wanted to do. Not what I wanted to do at all. And there's another star. Look at Nox C and D, which is another binary star system that orbits the first binary star system. It's crazy. It's unbelievable. It's a thing. So, anyway, so we've been doing some discovering, and it has paid off a little bit. Because if we pop over here, you can see under the Explorer rank, we're only mostly aimless now, huh? Mostly aimless. So, good things coming from our continued efforts. Oh, goodness. I wonder if... I'm going to hit the home button now, just in case it tries to release my cargo scoop again. Let's see if we can preempt our usual woes. No, I did nothing of use. Nothing of use at all. Alright, there's a couple of things hanging out here. What do we got? An asp and a Wakefield. Alright, I don't really care. Let's take a look at this asp real quick. Where is he? Behind. Yes, so as we get on our way, we can talk about our favorite game, which is, of course, Space Car Bingo. And last week in Space Car Bingo, using the craziness that is the Nox system, we, mostly harmless, clean, it's just, he's not having a good day trying to park that. We marked off under the G 10 plus planets because the Nox system does indeed have 10 plus planets. Hi. Do you need a nudge, or are you okay? I'm gonna assume you're okay. Just bounce around a little bit. And here we are heading towards the Orion. Oh, actually, we're getting really close. Right there, just to the... Let's see if we can... Oh, it's covering... It's obscured now. There we go. Just underneath our waypoint, you can see the Horsehead Nebula. Look at that, guys. It's right there. It's so close. Oh, yeah. Nice cup of space coffee to get us going through and on our day.
Frameshift drive charging.
But yeah, so we are actually, and still, I should say, very close to giving away a copy of Elite Dangerous via Space Car Bingo, because, as we know, Space Car Bingo is the vehicle by which you can get in the game. Yeah, for every line in the Space Car Bingo card that we complete, I will be giving away a copy of Elite Dangerous. And at the moment, under the B line, that whole B line is actually completely complete except for an elite rank. So we gotta start looking around for some elite rank folk to populate our
fuel scooping.
Our card with. I don't know where my brain just dislocated to.
Fuel scooping complete.
Thank you. Let's turn off here. And let's use our dubstep scanner just real quick here, because I noticed we picked up a astrological unit, which I'm assuming is that star. Let's slow it down as we turn around to take a look in a star's eye. Come on. I want to look in your star. Come on. Turn faster. Just a little bit faster. Oh, dang it. I forgot that I'm not pointing at the star. I'm pointing at... Here we go. How about this one? Scanning. This is a fairly empty looking system. Perhaps we shall take a quick little look through here. Analyzing scan now? Nice little... So it's a red dwarf, anarchy star. Okay. So let's take a quick little look around and see what we can see. So we use our usual tricks of getting a little bit farther away from the star and then looking back on it. Yeah, so what did I want to talk about? Today I wanted to talk about an exciting proposition. No, a interesting idea that has come up recently, came out of the Imaginarium of NASA. No, but some people at NASA did think about it. And it was the thought that perhaps, this follows a really large orbity path thing. Let's take a peek over here somewhere. Actually, let's head towards that. I don't know if that's a star or not, but let's just see what happens when we start jiggling around a bit. And the thought is that it may be it may be a better idea to do a manned mission to Venus before we do a manned mission to Mars. And the thought process goes something like this. Mars is bloody far away. Venus is also bloody far away. But a manned mission to Venus would actually take less time than a manned mission to Mars. I know I don't have the actual numbers by me, but let's say for argument's sake that it takes the same amount of time approximately to get there, because it is pretty close. It's within a month's time difference. But we're talking about a multi-month, like 6 to 8 months to get to either, in that kind of time frame. The big difference is that getting back from either location, it is much faster to get back from Venus than it is to get back from Mars. Now, that may not seem like a big deal per se, but when manned spaceflight, I think the longest that an astronaut has been continuously in space is for, I think, still under a year, if I'm not mistaken. I think it's still under a year. Maybe... Perhaps the Russians did do some... I'm not seeing anything around here that looks like it could be anything of fun. Oh! Or is that that's the initial star, right? Or is that something different altogether? That's something different altogether. Let's head towards that. Let's see if that gives us a little wiggle. You gonna give us a wiggle? It's awfully bright, which is why I'm hoping it wiggles. It was also right on my line, which always makes me think that it's something. It kind of looks like it's wiggling to me. By wiggling, I mean shifting compared to the stars around it. Let's see if we can move. I think it is. I think it is moving. Let's just see if we can kind of pop it towards those 3 stars that are sort of to the right and above it. Anyways, yeah, so it's a big deal to be able to cut down the amount of time that it's hard to tell if this is moving or not. I think it is still. So it's a big deal to be able to cut down the mission length time so that we're having people out. Yeah, it's definitely moved to the right there. So let's head towards that guy. So it's So it is a big deal to cut down. I'm going to just repeat this same line 4 or 5 times until eventually we have something that's a complete sentence. Because we just don't have the technology available at this time for prolonged space travel. To be in near zero G for that long wreaks havoc on the body, and we don't have the ability to easily, I should say, create an area where there's artificial gravity. Now, we have no such thing as... What is that? Oh, it's just an unidentified signal source. I don't mind if we pass that. But, I mean, we don't... There's no such thing as an artificial gravity generator where we just flick a magical switch and it turns on. But, I mean, having something like you've seen in 2001 is a good example. It's been in a trillion movies now where there's a large ring or something like that, or an entire spacecraft kind of rotates and it creates... even Interstellar actually had a rotation so that you'd have this sense of gravity, and that's actually really easy to do. You don't need very much like rotational speed if you get the arms long enough to create a like 1g worth of acceleration towards the center of the ship through or through the outside of the ship. I mean, through centrifugal force. So you can do these things we can do, but it's huge, the thing that you have to build, and super expensive. So it's not, it's not easy to do, and being able to cut down months, literally like 4 months off of, or 5 months, or 6 months off of a space mission is super beneficial at our current state of technology. So there is also another benefit of it being faster, is that if an emergency happens, God forbid, and they need to abort the mission, if you're on Mars, you're going to be basically still a year away from getting back to Earth. Whereas if you're on Venus, you're only like, 4 months away. So it's what was that? I have a button that... Oh, look at that. What does this button do? Look at that. Huh? Bam. I have a focus forward button, apparently. I'm still heading towards this star because there's definitely something here, and I want it. I want it in my brain. Starting to really move around now. We can probably really make it wiggle forward. Yep, perfect. This is probably just another little red dwarf or something along those lines, is my guess. Because the parent star was a red dwarf at any rate. Yeah, so God forbid anything bad happens, it's a little bit quicker to get home. I mean, we're not talking about, oh, suddenly you're at home, but at least it's marginally faster. Other benefits, super benefits, are that Mars, for instance, does not have a magnetic sphere around it. A magnetosphere, I think it's called. And what does magnetosphere do? Well, on Earth, as a for instance, the magnetosphere, which is this huge blanket of magnetic waves that encompass the Earth and many planets. What it does is it filters out solar radiation. So what's good about that? I'm not talking about UV radiation or anything like that, the stuff that gives you that sexy bronze tan that so slowly gives you melanoma. No, we're talking about like deadly ionizing radiation that will and will seriously screw up your DNA and cause cancers to form and things like that. So the Earth has one of these magnetospheres, and it filters out all this harmful radiation. Mars has no magnetosphere. So what does that mean? That means that an astronaut on Mars would be getting something like 40% more radiation, like a higher radiation dose, compared to that on Earth, or is it 40 times? I think it's 40 times the radiation dose that you'd be getting on Earth. That is a huge increase in just daily radiation intake. Now, our bodies can take a pretty big dose of radiation constantly, but at the same time, you don't really want to push it too damn far, and 40 times is a long way to push it. And there was another little star around here. Quite some goddamn ways, though, I will say. Let's just pop in around. There we go. Little brown dwarf. Little baby brown dwarf. So let us quickly... 52,000, almost 53,000 light seconds. That is very far away for a space car bingo binary system. I'm going to call this as a binary system because I can, and so therefore I will. So binary system, I'll just mark it off here with my... Yeah, there we go. Use my marker. Perfect. Okay, let's continue on our trip here because we are locked destination. Yeah, so Mars does not have a magnetosphere. 40 times the radiation dose. Venus has a magnetosphere, so that is very important to us. Now, some of you might be saying, but Noden, Venus is highly uninhabitable. There's no oxygen. I mean, as there is no oxygen on Mars. The gravity is less than ours. Okay, I think it's less than ours, pretty sure. Mars is much less than ours, regardless. The temperature, the runaway greenhouse effect, the temperature melts lead on the surface. And that's true, yeah. And then there's acid rain that will eat you alive because there's so much carbon dioxide in the air that carbonic acid is formed in the atmosphere and comes down as rain. All of these things are true. Making the surface of Venus, like you say, pretty much uninhabitable.
Fuel scooping.
But it's not the surface that NASA proposed. No. They proposed a cloud city.
Fuel scoop.
So basically imagine like airships floating through the atmosphere is 50 kilometers above the surface of Venus. Now, why so far away? So one, the temperature becomes much lower there. The temperature actually becomes something like 75 degrees Celsius, or what is that? Not 75 degrees Celsius, 75 degrees Fahrenheit. Earth-like temperatures. The amount of solar radiation that you'd receive is filtered out. There's a magnetosphere and there's a thick atmosphere. Everything gets really nice and filtered out for us until it's kind of like, living in Canada. In many ways, it is like living in Canada. It's very strange. You're just in an airship in Canada. So you still have... So you have an airship, you got solar panels on top of the airship, powering everything, making everything very cool and exciting. You do still have to build an airship that can withstand the acid rain, because you'd be flying through clouds of acid rain. But that's okay. I mean, that's actually easy to do. Surprisingly easy to do. I was reading the report from... NASA, and they're like, hey, we got this. We've got this technology just sitting here. I mean, that part's easy. We can do that part. And we got this really cool, fun mission that, remember when the Curiosity rover was landed on Mars and how, obscenely complicated the landing process was? It's like, okay, what we're going to do is we're going to bring a spaceship into the atmosphere of Mars. It is going to fire a retro rocket and then lower the actual robot via a crane down to the surface, and then it will fly off. I mean, it sounded completely insane. But it was really exciting, and you had all these people who were, watching live. I mean... I'd actually be really curious to see if more people watched the Curiosity rover landing live than any other, certainly modern NASA mission, because that seemed massive. It just seemed like everybody was watching to see this thing, if this thing would actually work. This huge, crazy, mechanism of delivery would ever work without just completely destroying everything. We're not do it in time. Damn it! Like an icy world. So going to Venus actually produces a similar crazy idea, and that is that you bring in this spaceship into the atmosphere. slow it down a little bit with parachutes, maybe with a little bit of rockets, and then begin to inflate your giant, once you get below like a specific speed, slowly begin to inflate this like massive airship thing. And then to actually get like, you know, humans or indeed any other kind of payload to there, you have to take, let's just lock onto this first before I continue talking. You've got to dock with this thing while it's in flight. So you come down, you've got to come down exactly in the right spot in an atmosphere. You have to fly, presumably fly towards this thing and then dock underneath it. Unbelievably complicated, but it'd be really exciting to see just if it could work, if it would work. Imagine like you're talking about like drones flying in the atmosphere of Venus, trying to like hook on to this airship. Actually, I think it would be really difficult to do, and really interesting to see how they organized a computer to do that. It's one of those things where you think of military aircraft, for instance, can refuel in air, and often do, certainly American military aircraft. So you have a large ship that's got a large amount of fuel in it, and it puts out a boom or a basket or something like that, and you know, you can very precisely control an aircraft in conjunction with another aircraft to literally refuel it via, you know, a small refueling port, as you would many other things. Unfortunately, it would be really complicated to do from a, like, interplanetary distances that we would have, that you're trying to coordinate this, and not only just coordinate it, but you're also having to, why do I need to slow down? I don't want to slow down. Like, calculate for all the things that could go wrong before you even get there. So it'd be unbelievably complicated to, I think, to do with a computer. I think it'd be unbelievably complicated to do, period. I think it's some mixture of computer and not computer would probably work best, but it would be still very complicated. I'm actually going to have to do something drastic here. I may have to leave off this exploration just quickly, because it's time for us to end this episode, and we are nowhere near a place to do that. So let us just quickly do what? Let us see. Let's go to the galaxy map. Let's see. Where are we? So we're here. No, we're here. System map unavailable. System map unavailable. Is there a place that we can... So we could get to Malaga, which would be... Sounds like the kind of place that would have a place for us to sleep. Yes, there is many. Okay. Oops, I went way too far out of my comfort zone there. Nothing in there. Or we could move forward. Can we move forward anywhere that would be useful? Not really. Alright, let's head down to Malenga there. Malenga. Oops. Sorry. I also don't like that it reoriented my map when I did that. And let's just quickly bounce our way over there, because it is time for us to end this episode. So I'm actually going to, in fact, end it now. I know normally I end it in a base of some sort. Well, destination again, please. But it's going to take me some minutes to get there, and that will take us well over our time. So I will end it here, and I will see you guys next time. If anything does happen between here and Malenga, I will include it as an afterthought, but it'll be an afterthought. So until next time, ciao, I love you. Good night.